Hi guys. Everybody doing? All right, guys. Hi. My name is Vincent Oquendo, celebrity artist, and testing, testing, 1, 2. Are you guys out there? I'm going to show you guys some concealer tricks today. So I'm here to answer all of your questions, and let's just dive in. I'm so happy. Thank you, Maybelline New York, for having me. And so I guess, we could start with skin prep. I'm Maybelline. We could start with skin prep, and I can show you guys what I do, what I clients, and I'm here to answer all of your questions. So tell me what you've got. I'm absolutely here for you. So I have things that I start with depending on my clients. On their skin type, I'll start. This is Cream X, a much more emollient moisturizer. Of seasons, I get. Oh, hi Veronica. I get a little drier, so I like to have something on that really gives my skin the extra love it needs during these dry seasons. So let's get started. Do a little demo on myself. Some is how I color match when I'm working with my clients, but I'm going to use it on my skin. So, thanks, Hadley. I did a little mask preemptively. So, start with a moisturizer. You want to just sort of lightly work it into your skin. I usually like to take a little excess of my moisturizer and put it in my cuticles. I don't know. I have dry cuticles, so it's what I do. So now I'm starting off with concealer. I'm going to use my Superstay concealer, my Superstay Under Eye Concealer. This is more fuller coverage, but it has that long 24-hour validity that I personally love for any carpet clients. So I'm starting off with Honey, which is 30. My hands are very slippery because I've had a lot of moisturizer. So, excuse my mirror. I'm like so OCD about cleaning. I like scratched it up, like scrubbing it down. So, I'm going to start off by putting a bit of the Superstay right under my eyes. I always go a little fairer under the eyes. So it can really pop and make your eye makeup really stand out. So, or if you're just grooming yourself and you want a natural makeup, just keep it light and fresh just so it helps color correct underneath your eyes. Are we skipping primer? No, we don't skip primer. I'm using, so for me, I'm using the moisturizer in place of primer, just because, but it depends on your skin's needs. Like if you want, if you're looking to color correct, or if whatever you need, you don't necessarily, it depends on your skin's needs. So for me, I don't necessarily need a primer. I think more of a super emollient moisturizer works for me, just because I have a combination to dry skin. So I personally love like a nice cushy moisturizer to hug my skin. So I'm going to just blend this in because the really gorgeous thing about the Superstay concealers, especially the under eye one, is that it sets. So you want to sort of work that product in before it sets. I'm using a pointed brush. Take a look at that. That's one of my tricks for when I'm working with my celebrities for the red carpet. And which celebrities, are you wondering? Some of my celebrities are Dove Cameron, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Diane Kruger, just to name a few. Sorry, guys, had to name drop. So now we've got that brightener on underneath my eyes. So now I know you guys are wondering, why haven't I swatched my my concealer on? So now I'm going to use my Fit Me concealers, using 40, 45 and 55 in the Fit Me concealers. You can see it's a really good sort of shade range. You've never used a brush for concealer. Oh, hi, Jackie. Oh my gosh. Okay, how long do you have to wait before putting on makeup after applying moisturizer? So, I don't really think that there's a, it depends on your skin. It's case by case. So for me, it's whenever I can sort of run my fingers over my skin and it doesn't feel greasy. So one of my little tricks, especially with my clients, what I like to do is I take a tissue, and if I'm running short on time and I really I don't have the time to wait for all that skincare goodness to seep in, I'll take this little tissue, I'll use my thumb, I'll poke a hole in it, bang, you see that? Creates a nose hole for me, and then I'll sit over their skin. And it'll take off any excess makeup or any excess moisturizer. It's kind of one of my hacks if I want to keep powdering the skin, or if I want to just sort of speed up my skincare process. Because if you put on your concealers over on your skin when there's a lot of skincare on, you'll notice it'll get streaky and it might even get cakey because it's just too much on top. It's like it's slipping and sliding around. So that's one of my favorite hacks. You could also take, ready for this, guys? You could also take a beauty blender. Make sure I wet my beauty blenders. I think that's the best way to sort of use it. But if you didn't want to wet your beauty blender, you could take the dry beauty blender and just stipple it over the skin, and it'll absorb any excess moisturizer or skincare before you put your makeup on. And then you can wet it and use it with your foundation. So since I've got this in my hand, let's party. When do you need concealer versus foundation? What's the difference? Super stay with me. Oh my God, these questions. Okay. When do you need concealer versus foundation? It just depends on your skincare needs. For me, I use foundation. I think it's case by case, but I know you're sick of hearing that. But I think it's one of those things that it just depends on your mood. For me, when I really want a skin appreciation kind of day and I want to just show more pores, I use concealer, and I'll just use a BB cream or CC cream in lieu of a foundation. So I'll just cover up all my boo-boos that I don't want people to see, and then I'll just use BB or CC cream as a veil over the skin. And usually what I'll do is I'll take like a fluffy brush and I'll buff it over like a veil. Okay, so let me just color match myself. Are we ready? So this is 30. So I'm gonna do 3 swipes. 1, I'm gonna do it closer to the camera so you guys can see. 2, ooh, she's dark. And then I'm gonna take 30. What do you guys think? So if I was doing this on a client, I'd probably use all 3. And I know you guys are bugging. You're probably wondering like why, but my perfect match is going to be that center one. So the center one was 40. So 40 is going to be my perfect match. I'm going to clean this guy off. But if you guys remember, you saw that fairer one. That was what I used underneath my eyes in the Superstay. So I'm getting ready to you want to use more than one concealer color, and you want to use more than one foundation color. Sorry to rain on your parade, but because your face naturally has highs and lows. So you want to just, okay, let's blend this away. You see that color warm and pretty? That's going to be the color that I use around here, but I'm going to use it in a different formula. Spoiler alert. It's going to be Instant Age Rewind. So I'm going to take that. I know I'm a 45, so I'm going to put that on the side because I know I'm going to match that to my Instant Age Rewind. Chemistry. Okay, so now I'm going to take my caramel color because I know that's on the money. And I'm going to take That looks like a pretty good match, huh? I'd say that looks pretty much the same. That's tan in Instant Age Rewind. So break from this, and I'm going to look at some questions. I'm extra. I use a fan on set. Best concealer. Oh my gosh, how long do you have to wait? I'm from Brazil. Hi, hi, hi. I never thought using a brush for concealer. When you use concealer, what's the difference between Super Stay Concealer and Fit Me? So Super Stay Concealer it's a 24-hour wear claim, and there are primers that are in it that help it stay from creasing around your eyes. So it almost flexes with you. So when you think of like your workout wear, this is almost like your like workout wear, like that active force, like that flexes and works with your skin when you're working out. That's the same kind of thing that's happening around your eyes. So it's going to work with your skin so it doesn't crease up, and it just looks better for longer. So okay, so let's put some of the Instant Age Rewind on. I didn't forget about you. Let me turn to you. So I'm keeping the perimeter warm, and I'm going right on the cheek. Now, I'm going to tell you why I love Instant Age Rewind. It's doing all the work for me. Look at this. Look at that brush. Look at that applicator. It's not a brush, it's a sponge. So if you notice how I apply it, I just dab it. And I'm going right in the cookie shop, right up and around here. I just want to keep my skin nice and warm, especially because it's not seeing the sun anytime soon, kids. So going right up over here. See that? So you want to use your applicator. You really want to just stipple it all the way around. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go right here. See that? See how I've kept that all warm? So now I'm going to take my number 40 in the Fit Me. So the thing I love about Fit Me foundation, Fit Me concealer and foundation actually, is the Fit Me line has a color for everyone. And so I have clients that are every single skin tone. And so it's really important to me because early on when I started doing makeup, it was the time when there weren't very much there wasn't so much color diversity with cosmetics. So it's really important to me if I'm using a line of foundation or concealers that they have a color for every single one of my clients, and I don't have to mix a whole lot. I'm gonna mix anyway, but just so I don't have to mix a whole lot. Okay, so now I'm gonna take that 40 and I'm gonna put that right here, and I'm gonna go right over. So that 40 is my medium. That's my money shot right there. That's my money. I love this color because it's going to be what I use the most of. So that goes all over my forehead. Now I'm going to take that Super Stay again because I've already kind of highlighted. I'm going to put a little extra. I'm going to dot a little extra and go right up here. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can go right in here. This is what I would normally do on my clients. Normally, I don't show my clients what I'm doing. So when they look into the mirror, when I do have the luxury of having a mirror, they get so scared. But then they love me after the next step. All right. Now, I'm going to take one of my mists. This is from Grown Alchemist. I love it. I'm going to spray it all over my face. Mist, mist, mist. And I'm going to take this lovely beauty blender. And I'm going to go right underneath my eyes. Let's see. I know it seems terrifying, guys. It seems like a lot of concealer, and it's very scary. But I promise, you're taking this wet beauty blender and you're taking most of it off. Or putting it in. So you really get to sort of see the pores, your pores. And here's my major hack. Here's the biggest takeaway is that each one of the concealers has a different texture. I'm telling sort of a texture story. So certain ones, like the Superstay, are long wearing, and so that's not going to budge. And so that's like sort of in my high traffic areas when I'm going to be smiling. You see, so I don't want it to crease up and cake up around my eyes because that's the dead giveaway. All right, blend, 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 and then with whatever's left, I'm going to leave it right here. So one of the biggest things that I tell my clients is because if it works on me, I'm a guy and I'm a man of color and I have texture in my skin. So it's definitely good on them because if it works on skin with texture, then it's going to look really, your concealers are going to look really great, especially if you have acne scarring, if you have dry skin, or if you have any sort of premature lines or anything like that. So we're going to buff that out. Can I wear concealer without foundation? Yeah. I mean, here's how it looks. Concealer foundation. Favorite things to do on the red carpet. How many times have I sent a celebrity out on a red carpet with like just concealer? It's like I remember doing BB Rex's makeup for, and Jackie's my assistant, so she'll know. I remember doing BB Rexa for a performance for GMA, and she went out, and during the performance, it started raining. It started pouring, actually, and I used all her stuff, and I used the Superstay under her eye. Literally, not one bit of her makeup ran. It was absolutely insane. It was, it was a very good day. We were very happy. All right, thanks. All right, so now I'm gonna take so if you want to step it up, this is like my everyday jam. This is like if I want to keep my girls light and fresh, this is what I like to do. You can see my skin, you can still see all my, but you can see the highs and the lows in my skin. So now I'm going to take my Fit Me foundation, is 310 Sun Beige. Oh, wait, I'm looking. So when color matching men, you swatch on the cheek if they have facial hair as opposed to the jawline. Yes, I always swatch on the cheek, but like when I do any of my clients, sorry, hi Gemma. Whenever I'm doing men, especially, I make sure I put here. This is that sort of sweet spot if they have any facial hair. You don't want to swatch on the facial hair. My last little tip is I'll show you in a minute. Right after this, I use my bronzer to sort of melt everything there. So if I really want flawless skin, then I can take a foundation like the Fit Me and knock a little bit of it out. And I know you guys are probably thinking, ooh, that's a little fair, but that's one of my tricks. So I go a little fairer. Let's get a brush that I like. Okay, so a knitted brush, but it's fluffy. I'm gonna take that foundation with the fluffy brush. Start right here. So you notice I'm going on the high points of my face. So I'm going right here. Just buffing over my skin, and it's just giving me that extra little less finish. And if you notice, I always go onto my brow bone and a little onto my lid. One of my other little favorite tricks that I like to do is I like to go all over my face, and especially with my clients, and I'll take a wet wipe afterwards. I'm using the Garnier wet wipes. They're one of my favorites. It's with micellar water. And then I use my finger, I wrap the wipe around my finger, and I just wipe my brows down. and any other little boob. So like if I go into their hairline, I love these wipes because they're not greasy either. So um, if I manage to get a little on their hairline, which happens, you know, they won't hate me to death because because I've messed up their hairline. So I just do a little bit of that, a little quickie cleanup. Let me see. Ask me some questions, guys. Sorry. Looks so flawless. Thanks. What else do we have here? What other questions? Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. So ask me your. I have the City Bronzer in number 300 here. I'm going to just hold that right down here. So what I like to do is I like to take my bronzer and I'm going to just dab in that, tap off any excess. I don't blow on my brushes. Guys, sanitation, sanitation, sanitation. So on the note of sanitation, now it's a whole new world with if you're, you know, when you're doing makeup, for a makeup artist, it's all about sanitary practices. So one thing that I find invaluable in my kit is brush cleanser. This is the Cinema Secret. I canted it and I put it in a small container. Actually, my assistant did. And this is a really great way to sort of keep all your brushes and your products really sanitary. So like your daughter, or if you're sharing makeup with a friend, or if you know you're not the only one in your that's using your brushes, give a little. I'm going to use it on one of the brushes that I haven't used. So you want to just give a little. She is not activated. Well, normally this would spray. Whoops. But you can just put a little on there. And the joy about brush cleanser is brush cleanser will dry very quickly. So then you want to just wipe it on the top, back and forth. What I'm doing is I'm going back and forth and back and forth just to work it into the brush so it sanitizes any germs. Most brush cleansers tend to be antibacterial, so it kills 99% of germs, but you want to just read it to make sure. So now I'm going to take the bronzer, tap off any excess, don't blow into your brush. And I'm just going to go right under. So you saw with the foundation, I started up here, right? And then with the bronzer, I'm starting down here, and I'm going in circular motions, but like an oval. I'm going right under my jawline, and I'm going back and forth in an oval. And then I can go right up here. And then I just go right down the neck. So it just keeps my clients and me warm and healthy. That warm, healthy glow. One of the reasons why I absolutely love the City Bronzer is because even, and I know I don't have to tell you guys this, even if you haven't nailed your color, it doesn't have shimmer in it. It's a matte bronzer, so it just kind of warms you up. So even if you've gone paler with your complexion, or if you've lost your color in the because we can't go outside, this is a great way to even out your tone. What is the tip for a midday refresh? My skin is oily and sometimes the product tends to separate on my skin and show texture midday. Oh no. Okay, so one of my favorite tips to do is I just keep a concealer in my bag. And one of my favorite things to do is to take, I think Instant Age Rewind is kind of the perfect concealer to keep in your bag. I know a lot of my clients always want to bring a lipstick with them, but oftentimes if I know that they have oily skin, I'll slip a concealer in their bag with a powder, because especially like I love this concealer because let's say if I had a little hole in my makeup, it has the applicator on there. So you don't need to click it to put any more product in there. You could just use that applicator and just lightly, just very light touch it, and it resets it, and just lightly pat it with your finger. If you happen to have a brush handy, then you can use a brush as well buff it in, but if you don't, your finger works perfectly. I find, especially if you're touching up makeup, you want to use your fingers. I would absolutely recommend it. So I would say a concealer like Instant Age Rewind is perfect because it has that applicator in there and it just sort of resets the makeup. And actually, another thing that I love to do is I put a little bit of the concealer, and if you have a mist handy, mist your skin because it resets, and especially if you've powdered, and you can just sort of roll your on your skin to sort of melt everything together. I know it feels like, oh no, I don't want to put that over my powder because you feel like it's going to eat it up. Well, that's kind of the point. You want to sort of break it down and then it resets it. And then you can put a concealer to the skin again and then powder. Okay, how do you make it? How do you make it stay on and not cake? Oh my gosh, amazing. So earlier I talked about a tip that I like to do is I keep some of these little tissues nearby. And one of the things that I like to do, if you don't happen to have oil blotting papers nearby, you can separate a tissue, and then you pop a hole in the middle with your thumb, and then press, and it gets off all the excess. That all there, that would destroy my makeup. That would absolutely destroy my makeup. So that's the stuff that's going to eat away at your makeup. So you want to press your skin and then you can powder it, because if you don't get that excess moisture off of your skin, the second you put a powder on there, it's going to stick. It's going to get streaky. You're gonna see all that texture. It's not a good look. So if you have oil blotting papers, have those oil blotting papers handy, and then you can just press it right in. Best concealer for oily skin. Hi, Mabel. One of my favorite concealers for oily skin, I would say, I think the Superstay concealer is great for oily skin because once it's on there, like that's ideally what you want. You want your concealer to stay. So I would say, yeah, especially if you, and here's another thing to think about. If you have oily skin, you're a person that primer would be great for. So I would use a primer, press it into the skin, let it set. Moisturizer's lightweight. So I would probably recommend to use like a serum on someone like you, something that's mega hydrated, like a mega hydrating serum, because a lot of times with oily skin, you have surface dehydration because you tend to strip the skin. So you essentially want to keep the skin light, keep the skin hydrated, and then use like a Superstay. But you could use the Superstay, but use it really, really, really sheer. So almost, you want to use more of like the Superstay concealer, the under eye concealer, and you could use it around your face as well. I use it around my face. I love my face, especially like a long day of on camera stuff on myself, especially. I touch my face a lot. I know it's bad, but I do. I touch my face a lot, and so I wash my hands a ton, but I do touch my face a lot. Oh, a gel-based moisturizer works well as well. I personally, I love serums. I love serums. I love like hyaluronic acid serums, because the hyaluronic tends to just, it's like a hug on my skin. It makes my skin feel good. So what's the best concealer for my crazy under eye circles? Oh gosh. Okay. Do you ever set a color corrector with powder before concealing? I'm combo oily skin. Do you ever set a color corrector with powder? I do. I have. That's kind of one of my other little favorite tricks. Okay, so whenever I'm doing a client, whenever I'm doing a client for a red carpet, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll get their complexion to about this point, and then I'll bake them. We're talking about baking. So I'll bake them, I'll put it underneath their eye, I'll go all around, and then I'll see any still visible boo-boos. And those boo-boos gotta go for a red carpet, especially for a premiere. If it's just like a morning show or something, it's fine. But for like a red carpet, I want them to be flawless because you don't get to retouch those photos. So I'll usually bake them. And I learned this trick from baking from Winnie Harlow. Let me show you how to bake. Well, so I don't know if I have a loose powder. So essentially, I'm going to describe it to you because I don't have a loose powder handy. Bad me, sorry. You want to take a puff. Your makeup would be at this point. You want to take a puff. You're going to take that loose powder. You're going to deposit the product right underneath the eye, right here, and it's going to be like an excess of product. So it's just a lot of product, bang, 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 right here. I do it right up here as well and here. And then so it'd be here, 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 here. And then sometimes what I'll do is I will let that sit for a second. So I'll let that cook. Whilst that's cooking, I'll do something else. So I'll do like my eyebrows. I'll take like the wet wipe, the brow, and then I'll just use brow products. Bang, 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 do that. And then I'll take a pointed brush. A lot of my brushes are pointed because I like precision. I'll take a brush, little resistance. That's really little, a very small amount of resistance. Should be fluffy, but not too, not like this. That's too fluffy. You want something that has some substance, a little bit of resistance. You go right here, and then you brush outward. And then you'll still see, and when you bake, it really makes that makeup long wearing. So that's a really good way, especially if you're oily, to combat that. And then if you still see some stuff going on, you could use a concealer like the Instant Age Rewind and just lightly tap. But what I like to do is I take a brush that's even more precise, like one of these. This is from Crown Brushes. And then I'll take like a concealer like my Superstay, and I'll just lightly touch it, the top of that, and then I'll just spot check very softly. And then it'll continue to conceal, and it won't eat away at your product, because what you're going to do is after you've concealed boo-boos again, you're going to just quickly go bang, bang right over the powder. So it's going to set it, and it's not going to melt everything. What is the name of your makeup brushes? So I use a ton of brushes, but I love Crown brushes. I love Sigma brushes. I always tend to use synthetic hair brushes. I'm a vegetarian, and I try to be good to the universe, and so I like synthetic brushes. Allergic to animal hair, so I'm just personally, my preference, I prefer synthetic hair brushes. And I also, because I use wet products with my fluff brushes, if you use a natural hair, it'll tend to break it down. And so that's always hard as an artist. So the synthetic brushes can often take a beating. So that's some of my, that's some stuff that I love. Can you show how to bake? Okay. What concealer for creeping under eyes? I'm a 50-year-old lady with creepy under eyes. Oh, okay. So one thing that so the Superstay Under Eye Concealer is perfect for any under eye texture. I would say go softer and just use, you could use the applicator brush, but you want to keep like a brush like this. Oh, this is my friend's company, Cosette. He makes really good brushes. So you want to take like a fluffier brush like this, and you could just lightly tap it over and see how it wears with your skin. Like anything else, that's why I love Maybelline, because there's so many different types of concealers. You can figure out what works best for your skin. What works great for my skin might not work so great for your skin, and it might not work so great for, you know, your friend over their skin or whatever. But you want to just sort of, the best way to figure out what formula works the best for you is trial and error. And I personally love the Superstay for under eyes, but try it, see if it works. But go light at first, and then once you figure out if you love it, then you can just really commit to it. How do you get products to stay on the nose? I have a dry nose, and on the sides of my nose, it gets very oily, and the product always separates or removes completely. What texture of concealer is best when covering a pimple? Okay, so these kind of similar questions, because okay, so I'm going to start with Gemma's question. Do you get products to stay on the nose? I have dry skin, but on the sides of my nose it wears down. This is also a really good question for anybody that wears eyeglasses. It'll stay on your nose. I think the tip that I was talking about before, where you want to just sort of oil blot, and you can use oil blotting papers, or you can use tissues. You can split them to your skin. But priming, this is the perfect example of a primer being a solution to you. Prep and prime your skin, but I think it could also be, if you, especially if you have dry skin, it might be the case where you want to use an exfoliator. So you can use like a soft peeling lotion. Check out your dermatologist, or you can just you can get some at any apothecary. You can go to Sephora. You can go to Ulta. Ulta is amazing. Um, and you can get a soft peeling lotion. It's almost like a toner on it, and it'll sort of help get rid of some of the dead skin. For me, that's one of my problems as well, because I get that dryness and I get dry patches. So it tends to, like, you can see the makeup. So I would use one of those. And then a moisture mask. I love one from Tata Harper. That's one of my favorite ones. I did it right before I got on this. Just use your concealer right over it. So this is a case where you would want to use your concealer around your nose, and then use a BB or a CC cream that's sort of moisturizing over that. So let's see. Texture bring a pimple. Okay, so if you have a pimple, I would say, I would probably suggest to Super Stay, because it's made for those high traffic areas under your eyes. So if you're using it on top of a pimple, it's going to be sort of long wearing, and you can make a powder foundation, stipple that powder foundation, press it over the concealer, like a long wearing concealer, like the Super Stay. Use your powder foundation and just keep pressing it on. That's sort of my favorite way to do it, because it's gonna keep that textures. You're gonna have to touch it up all day, especially if it's at like a whitehead or something like that. So one of my other little tricks, if the pimples popped, sorry, I feel like these are dirty words. If the pimples popped and it's sort of, and you can't get it, makeup won't stick to it. What I usually do is I'll take like one of the NYX sticks. Let me show you. I have one here. Hold on one second. This is the NYX stick. I realized as like a guy, when I was shaving, this became one of my kids' staples. This is from Pacific Shaving Co. But this is one of my kids' staples, especially if you're prone to breakouts. I would suggest this. If you use it, it's in a little roller, and you can go right over it if the pimples popped, and it'll dry it up so makeup can lay over it. I've learned to love this, because especially if you nick yourself shaving and it won't stop bleeding, you do this, you let it, and then you can do your you can apply your makeup over it. But you want to use something more like a foundation powder over that area, because it's when you re-wet it, it's going to start bleeding again. So that's one of my tricks. But all right, guys, I think, oh my gosh, I lost track of time. This is so much fun. Guys, if you loved all these products and you want to get all of these yummy products, which I want you to have, go and check out Ulta Beauty. Ulta has all the stuff, and they will keep you looking fresh during this quarantine. So, all right, guys, thank you for having me, and I hope this was fun. And I can't wait for your looks. All right, bye.